You're listening to Bernadette Gold Unfiltered, which means you're ready for a new level in business, health, and life. Hit subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. No filter, no fluff. Let's go. We're going to start with another question today. And I don't mean this to offend you, and I hope it doesn't. But for some of you, you need to be asked this question. When will you finally be happy? Go ahead. Say it out loud. Fill in the blank. I'll be happy when? When you hit the revenue number? I'll be happy when the relationship's better? When I lose the weight? When my business is stable? I'll be happy when I finally have enough? When? That word, that single word, is one of the most telling signs of a program running that most coaches just overlook and no strategy can ever reach. Because here is what I've learned from thousands of sessions sitting with high achievers at every level of success. The when never arrives because the number gets hit and a new number immediately appears. The relationship improves, but a new complaint emerges. The weight comes off, but a new goal for a different body replaces it. Because the when's not actually about the thing you think you're waiting for. It's about a belief that you don't deserve to feel the way you want to feel until you've earned it sufficiently. We talked about that program in episode 6, but today I want to go deeper because the when is a symptom of something, and I want to name it directly. Black and white thinking, all or nothing, complete or worthless, perfect or failed. That's the thinking pattern that can't see progress because it's not finished yet. The person who worked hard all week, moved the needle, shipped something, showed up consistently, but can't feel good about any of it because it's not all done yet. Because to them, done is the only thing that counts. But done never arrives because the goalpost keeps moving. Does that sound familiar? Here's what I want you to understand about that pattern. For people who've experienced trauma, and that's more of you listening to this than you actually might think. All or nothing thinking, it's not some sort of a flaw. That is a survival response. Because when you grow up in an environment that's so unpredictable and swings between extremes, safe one moment, dangerous the next, the brain learns to think in absolutes. Because absolutes feel safer than the terrifying uncertainty of the middle ground. And if you experienced sickness as a child, maybe not trauma, but you were ill or someone in your family was ill, you know what I'm talking about. Either things are fine or everything is falling apart. Either I'm succeeding or I'm failing. Either I go all in or I want nothing. There's no nuance in a survival brain. Nuance takes too long. When you're trying to assess any kind of threat. And I want to say this is not just showing up in therapy offices or coaching sessions. We're watching it play out in the world stage right now, today. The all or nothing threats, the catastrophic language, the we will completely destroy and decimate an entire civilization, or We're going to totally win. And there's nothing in between that. That's not leadership. That's a trauma response, running unchecked at the highest levels of power. Or it's just clear outright dementia. I don't know. But it's costing everyone. Because black and white thinking at scale breaks things. Just like it breaks things in your business, your relationships, with your health. When it runs unchecked inside you, let's talk about that and the difference between coping and clearing, because this is actually the heart of everything we've been building in this series. Coping is what most people call growth. It's the strategy that manages the symptom, the habit that suppresses the feeling, the achievement that temporarily quiets the program. Coping moves the number on one dial while quietly turning down all the other dials. The revenue goes up, but then the relationship starts falling apart. The business grows, but then your health starts to decline. The metrics improve, but joy disappears. Or, this is the version I see most often, they just spin. Same patterns, different year, different business, different partner, different strategy. Same ceiling, same result, same place they started, because coping doesn't touch the program underneath it. It just finds more sophisticated ways to manage the resistance that the program creates. Here's how you know someone's coping rather than clearing. They plateau, not just in revenue, in life. They hit a certain level and can't sustain it, or they sustain it in one area, everything else collapses. Or they just keep moving, always producing, always launching, always pivoting, always achieving, but really truly going nowhere. That constant motion is its own coping mechanism. If you keep moving fast enough, you never have to feel what's underneath the motion. Now, clearing's different. And here's the thing about clearing that nobody really talks about. When you've actually cleared something, you don't have to work against it anymore because the resistance is gone. It's not managed. It's not suppressed. There's no more white knuckling it into submission. It's just gone because you changed the program that was creating the resistance in the first place. The income ceiling that used to require constant effort to push through, gone. Because the belief underneath it that was driving it's gone. The visibility that used to feel like walking into danger, that becomes natural because the survival response that made it dangerous has been cleared. The relationship issue and pattern that keeps repeating, that stops repeating because the program that was causing it has been changed. That's the difference between a life of constant effort against invisible resistance and a life that moves with the current instead of against it. Now, I want to name something I think is important and honest. Clearing's not always comfortable. In fact, it's usually not comfortable at all. The moment before a program releases, there's often a period of great discomfort because you're sitting with what's underneath. And the coping mechanism, the grief that the achievement was covering, or the fear that the motion was outrunning, the anger that the people pleasing was suppressing, Clearing asks you to feel those things, not forever, not wallow in it, but acknowledge what the body's been carrying so it can finally put it down. But coping avoids all of that, which is why coping feels easier in the short term, but it costs you everything in the long term. And while clearing feels harder in the short term, it changes everything in the long term. That's the choice underneath every other choice we've talked about throughout this entire series. Manage the resistance or remove it. Work against the programs or change them. Keep spinning or go to the root. So here's the question I want you to sit with before episode 11. Where in your life are you coping? What would it feel like to finally clear instead of cope? I'll see you in episode 11. This is Bernadette Gold, Unfiltered.